Thanks for coming on the talk. Thanks everybody for being here. Just right off the bat, who's feeling brave? Do I have any brave people in the audience? Anybody can raise their hand and say, I am a brave person? I saw you first. There you go. That's just your award. Award for being brave. I made that on the plane here. I crochet and I knit. That has nothing to do with anything. Just I thought, let's get somebody brave in here. So that's the brave person. Don't worry, there'll be other opportunities for minor prizes as we go through. So, if you want these slides, I put them on the tiny URL because I don't like typing long URLs, and I've always been a friend to tiny URL, and they're a friend to me. So, what does bad security look like? I think it looks like this. This is a very famous lithogram. The absence of reason, or the sleep of reason, produces monsters. If you don't know, then everything's terrifying, and man, everything's bad. It's also really boring to be in security. If I have to read one more 90-page PDF, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And my company does a bad job too. We put out 30-page documents that we think people are reading. I skim them myself. And security can feel really, really lonely. Like just staring out the window, wondering what to do next. I got all these PDFs in front of me. I know something in there is gonna help me, but man, what do I do? What does good security look like? I think it looks like this. It's 3 a.m. and no alarms are going off. Or if they are going off, I don't have to care because something's automated is taking care of it. I'm up and running, production's happening, everybody's happy. So I can just sleep. It also looks like this, completely away from Wi-Fi and not worrying about it. Cell phone signals not kicking in. I see some nods out there. It really boils down to this. You can spend time with the people you love doing the thing you want. I love playing Monopoly, and that's part of why this picture speaks to me personally. And I love playing it with people that I love. They don't like playing with me because I'm vicious at it, but I crush them every time. But it also can look like this. This is a real picture from a real meetup. I wasn't at it, but I went through all my pictures of meetups I've attended, and this was the best one that I wasn't at, out from the Slack channel I'll talk about later. But it's people working together to figure out how do we do this stuff together. And that's what I'm going to talk about for the rest of today. So I'm Dwayne. I live up in Chicago, came down for this. I've been doing talks and developer advocacy in general since about 2016. I'll give my first talk. And I co-host the Security Repo podcast. You can find us on Apple and YouTube and many other places. Jason E. Street was our last guest. If you don't know who that is, Google him. Amazing hacker, amazing person. Find me out there on social media places. LinkedIn, more than anywhere else. Somehow LinkedIn won when X fell down, so I'm going with it. It's fine. And I like stuff. So hit me up about rock and roll. If you got any rock and roll bands locally you know of, like, hey, have you heard of them? Please let me know. I love hearing about bands. So I work for a company called Get Guardian. If you didn't get a sticker when you came in, I have more stickers. They say Get Guardian on them, and you can have one. You can have two. How many kids you got? We can give you that many, because I know kids fight over them, because everybody loves the owl. But we help people figure out where their hard-coded credentials are throughout their source code, now through Jira, and now through Slack integrations, and where people are putting them, both publicly out in public GitHub and internally in your repos, and then give you a sane, scalable way to deal with the remediation path, an API you can automate against. That's the last time I'll talk about Get Guardian throughout the rest of this thing. If you want to talk about them, I am happy to. That's why they pay me to talk about it. So this isn't nothing to do with them. We sponsor some of the stuff that I'll talk about, but other than that, we won't come up again. This is vendor neutral. Everything we do is built on these 4 principles. I met Richard Stallman once. I won't tell you that whole story, but he was wearing a paper sign around his neck that said, "It's Libra, not free." And he sold me a book and a GNU. And I asked him, like, so would you have done anything different on the 4 freedoms? And he's like, no, I think they're right. And that's how sound the man is on it. 1980s MIT professor. I'm not going to read him to you. We all know him. We should all know him by heart. But I was at this event called WordCamp Europe back in 2019, Berlin. And Brian Tiemann, one of the founders of Joomla, said, the 4 freedoms are great. They're wonderful. But we never, ever talk about the zero freedom, except they already use zero because Richard Stallman's that kind of guy. So he says we got to call it -1. It's the fundamental freedom of community. And we are exercising it today. We all, by our own free will, I hope, came to this conference, came to this room, went out and ate churros and talked to each other. And if we don't have that level of discourse, then who on earth is going to run the software? If we don't have that level of discourse, who on earth is going to study that software to improve it or make changes on it? How would they do that? Sure, I can put it on a server somewhere. How would you even know it's there? Without the freedom of community, we would never know. What does that have to do with security? Well, if you're a security professional, and just out of curiosity, is anybody here a security professional? I got 4 or 5 in the room. Awesome. You're doing awesome work, but you are way outnumbered. Anybody here a developer? Yeah, you're outnumbering them. Not in this room, because I think it's just the nature of this talk, but overall at this conference, way outnumbered. In real life, outnumbered. And Alex Rice said it, but I think when he meant, said 100 to 1, he meant like all the engineers, everybody that touches code, including all the crazy SaaS applications we glue together with tools like Zapier and all the other stuff that makes SaaS. Like the stuff outside your pipeline that keeps you up at night, because who has access to that? What third-party tools did you grant access to along the way and that person left? I don't know. That's real though. And we thought we could just shift left and just throw a security hat on the developer and say, you got it from here. You got it. Now we're secure because we shifted left, and now everybody wears the security hat. And yeah, there's a tool that can fix that. This is the 2003 Cyberscape map. I didn't count the exact number of entries, but it's a lot. It's a lot. But the tool you need to fix that security problem you're facing is right there somewhere, I think. And let's face it, we all live in alert hell all the time. False positives, false negatives aside, even if we just dealt with real alerts, the average person deals with at least too many a day. It depends on the organization, depends on what you're tracking. I originally had different names on those tool 1 to tool 4, but throw in everything you want. SaaS tools, DAS tools, SCA, fill in the blank. We're all getting alerts all over the place. What on earth do we do with it? There are some people like, well, we'll just build another tool that deals with all the alerts. And we'll keep chasing that single pane of glass that's been the thing that we've been chasing since I got into computer science at the turn of the millennia. Doesn't exist, and it never will. And then there's all the other stuff. Like, how do we know about the other stuff? The stuff that we can't see, that the alerts aren't telling us about. The fog of war. Anybody play the original Warcraft? Yeah, we all know what this is. Terrifying. So it feels like, especially in security, but I also want to address everybody else, because you've been told, hey, now you have to wear the security hat. We've shifted left. You have to care about security tooling. You need to care about our security infrastructure. It's on your shoulders now. And everybody feels a little bit like the Red Queen. I'm realizing I probably should have made these letters red. That's all right. I think red would have been a lot harder to see. But two of my favorite books in all of history are Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Looking Glass, Alice meets the Red Queen, who we have to run twice as fast as we can to get anywhere on the chessboard. And that's how the situation we all got put into. And it would be nice if there was just this group of security experts in the world who just said, you know what? We will help. We will do what's needed. We'll figure this out with you. They're called OWASP. They exist. They've been over 20 years. Who here is an OWASP member? Yay! Got one. Is that 2 I saw? Nope. Okay, we got one OWASP member in the room. That's awesome. That's 2, including me. OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. Their mission is very, very, very simple. No more insecure software. Of course, this is unrealistic, and we'll never get there, because software has security issues. Just does. We got to accept that. There's a level of risk you have whenever you run anything. Me running Chrome right now on a Mac in 2024, there's a bunch of things that could go wrong security-wise. There's a risk I'm running with this. They're very low risks, very low probability, and honestly, there's not a lot at stake. This is my company's machine. I can just get a new one. But in a larger sense, realistically what they do is they're a nonprofit that's obsessed with supporting and building impactful projects. We'll define what that means later. Develop and nurture communities throughout the world. Very important. I'm going to lead with that here in a minute. And provide educational resources. If we just boil that down, I think it's this. OWASP is about community, events, projects, education and training, and publications and resources. Those bottom two, we can lump up with projects. And I'll get to why I think that's true in a bit. So it all starts over on OWASP.org. How many people have ever been to OWASP.org? Wow, that's about half the room. That's awesome. How many people found it useful and easy to navigate? Yeah. Wow. That's first, you've been recently, right? Like since this redesign, this is brand new. This redesign is brand new. The original founder, I won't name, I heard on a podcast in 2022 said, the problem with OWASP is it's become a Byzantine labyrinth that's impossible for anyone to navigate. That's when I wrote this talk. I'm not even joking. It's like, all right, I will help the situation as best I can by getting up and saying things out loud in front of people, because that's what I do. So let's start with community. The easiest path on with the highest reward to risk ratio of anything I'm going to talk about is the community. There's a Slack. Once you join OWASP, and it's not free, I will say that up front. It's $50 a year to join as a member, $500 for life. And this isn't a sales pitch for them at all. You can freely join the Slack without being an official OWASP member, without having an OWASP.org email address. But if you do fully join, there's other benefits, a lot of perks, a lot of discounts for things. But everybody can talk around the world in the OWASP Slack channels, and there's a lot of channels and a lot of specific things going on. So any conversation you want to have around, like, I don't understand this about security, Kubernetes security, cloud security, there's somebody online already having a conversation about it that probably already answered the question. Go join them. You can meet up with them in person, most likely. Pandemic threw a giant monkey wrench into this whole thing, but most of them are coming back. The good news is that some of that monkey wrench it threw in there caused an evolution in how we deal with meetups in a couple different ways. One, they're online. A lot of them are online. You can join meetups. The Ottawa chapter was my favorite online meetup. They went back to in person, so I can't join Ottawas anymore. But there's a bunch that are online. If you're local, they're local. There's an OWASP chapter meeting in the 27th. So it's coming Tuesday. You're like, this sounds good. I'd like to get in on this. There's already 48 people showing up. This one's online, I believe. It's in the middle of the day. So take your lunch break and go meet some awesome people online. Events. Events are big old meetups. I know I kind of skimmed through this, but I can't stress enough how much I have learned from going to these things and asking people questions. The speakers at these generally tend to be people that are building projects with OWASP or deeply involved in something with OWASP and have some insight that you might not have gotten from the projects we'll talk about. I used to talk about community second, and this is the first time I put it first, so I'm going back now. I can't understate this, though. This is fundamental zero. This is how this whole thing works, is volunteers talking to each other through channels and in person and saying, what if we did this? Or what if we attacked the problem like this? Go join them. So events. There are all sorts of events coming up. They are regional. I got to speak at Snowfrock last year, and I'm speaking at it this year. It's the first week of March up in Colorado. So if anybody's Denver based or that area, come say hi. AppSec Days Pacific Northwest was awesome. Very small event, but this year's in Vancouver, Washington. It's going to be amazing. And the big one is their OWASP AppSec Days. So Libsyn is the big one this year. It was DC last year. This is what Snowfrock looked like. Not that much different than ours, than what we're doing here. Conference is a conference. Not going to overhype that. Nice thing about the events is that most all of them are recorded. So you want to see another session? There they are. They're on YouTube. They're one of the places I go check if I am doing research. It's one of the first channels I go to personally. It's like, was there an OWASP talk about this? Let's start from there. I don't know anything about this area of security, or think I have an idea. That's what I learned S-bombs are. The Cyclone DX. I'm getting ahead of myself, but like everything I know about Cyclone DX, I learned from OWASP talks on the internet, because that's how I learn videos. Now let's get to projects, kind of the heart and soul of everything. I love Git, and the fundamental unit of work in Git is the commit. The fundamental unit of work in OWASP is the project. It's the fundamental building thing. If you're an old school Linux Drupal person, it's the node. If you're a old school Linux person, it's the file. It's the concept is important. They're all open source. Almost all of them have a GitHub repo. Some of them don't for various reasons, but they don't need them. But almost everything does. Everything has, everything's built by volunteers and people that are experts in their field coming together saying this needs to happen. There are new projects every week. Right now, last time I checked, actually, when I put this number on here, it was last week. It was 322. I actually don't know what that number is right now. I didn't go look at it today but it's somewhere around that. And about half of that-ish is usable. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean usable? Conceptually, they've always been organized into this idea of flagship projects. These are the big ones you've probably heard of. Wouldn't be brand new to you if I told you about them. Production projects, which is a new category as of October 2022, that they've been slowly shifting things to say, hey, your enterprise could take this off the shelf and run this as commercial enterprise software, except it's free and open source and awesome. Then there's the lab projects, which are on their way to flagship. Most of those are in usable states. And then there's the incubators. They're really good ideas someone made a README for, and we've progressed from there for some of them. That's what the flagships look like. You can jump over to owasp.org/projects and find this. And right now, probably at least one person in this room is going, 322 projects? Wow. Like, what do I do with that? It's like me saying there's a dictionary over here with a bunch of words in it. They'll be helpful if you find the right ones. I get you. So did they. So did the project. The project realized this a few years ago and said, yeah, just throwing a giant list at people and saying start here isn't probably the best way to organize this. So they looked at the software development lifecycle and said, what if we organized at least some of it, at least you're getting started, at least your first steps in here around the SDLC, which most people understand, most people live in, breathe every day. And they built the Wayfinder. The Wayfinder itself, interestingly enough, is not a project. It's one of those things that's part of the website, but it's not a standalone project. There's a team that works on it, but the team that works on it is the team that built the CRE, the Common Requirement Enumeration. If you thought that you already had enough numbers to tell you how bad things were, they built a whole new system that could tell you even more, like cross-reference all the numbers, cross-reference your CVEs with your WCEs, with your CEWs, with all the other acronyms that I can't remember because I'm talking. And they said, okay, let's put the scoring system around it. I'm not going to get into what that is. You can go to this owaspcre.org and read much, much more details, but it's a quick way to get to this is the problem. Here's the fundamental root cause. Here's how we solve that. And that's what it's about. So they took that and said, all right, let's build this thing called a Wayfinder. So if you are building your requirements, there's the various projects that define how you should be valuing various things in security and how you should be thinking about it. Once you start the design phase, there's things like Threat Dragon and Python Python Threat PyTM. I don't remember what the M stands for, but it's another threat modeling. Oh, modeling. Python threat modeling. If you're a Python person, you'll love it. All the way through to like production. Like, what do we do when we get this thing actually out in production? Oh, well, there's all these other projects. So if you're the kind of person who thinks like, well, I live in testing, I live in the verification process, maybe you should start down here. Start with one of these. Unfortunately, Zap is still on the website, but Zap's no longer part of OWASP. They grew up and left, and they're part of SFF, I think, right now. I forget where they went, but they're going somewhere with the Linux Foundation. As everybody eventually goes with the Linux Foundation. So you can go to the website. Oh, that's her going there. Jump down here. And this isn't just a picture. It is, in fact, well, they updated the map since last time I made that picture. So let's go look at Mobile Application Security Verification Standard, MASAV. But yeah, all right, I'm building a mobile app. Where should I start thinking about security? Well, here's a whole guide for you. Here's everything you need to know about that. Big claim to fame, or not claim to fame, but one of their ones that you probably have read if you're in security at some point is the ASVS, the Application Security Verification Standard. How do I verify what I'm about to do is secure? How do I think about modeling? How do I think about security end to end? Well, here's a whole guide for you. I'm not going to go through all these. The last version of this talk and the one that I wrote the description on did. And I got the feedback that that was not that helpful. Oh, it was OpenCRE. So it's not OWASP, it's open. And probably there's at least a few people in the room who are like, okay, so there's 17 projects or 18 projects you pointed me at and tied them to some part of the software development lifecycle. So great, I could get started there. This could have been an email. I agree. So let's actually talk about the 5 that I think are going to get the farthest fastest. And the 5th one is a very personal thing to my heart that I kind of am slipping in here as a secondary talk. Just heads up. But all right, the top 10, everybody here should hand go up on this one. Who here has ever heard of the top 10 from OWASP? Wow, there's people that haven't. Anybody like never heard that before? This is like the first time they've ever heard about the OWASP top 10. Right? All right, you get the second one. All right, there you go. I made that on the plane down here. All right, so let's start with top 10. Top 10 is the standard awareness document. When the entire rest of the industry says, what is wrong with our apps? What do we need to work on? This is the number 1 cited thing on the internet. This is kind of how the entire security industry says, this is what's going on based on the data. Looks like this. From 2021, and yeah, you're thinking it's 2024, isn't it? Yeah, this only comes out 3 to 4 years they update it. So we're due for a new one either this year or beginning of next year. But let's just go to it. Yeah, I thought I made that bigger earlier. All right. So there's 2017, there's 2021 update. Injection. We're getting better at injection, so you can track over time. Like, all right, how are we doing it as an industry? Broken authentication. Oh, that keeps being a thing. They actually divided that into broken access control and something else, identification and authentication failures, because it was so much of a problem. They had to say, oh, wait a minute, there's actually a lot going on that's breaking into 2 problems, and broken access control is the top one. Authorization is hard. It's just hard. Auth-in is hard. Auth-z is almost impossible. But we gotta fix it. We gotta fix it, folks. But that's the super high level. Go back over here. Control F. Nope, just Control F. Nope, Command Shift. There we go. I got a Linux box at home, so every one of them looks like this. Cryptographic failures, which is what I spend a lot of time looking at and thinking about because of the nature of where I work. It breaks down like this, and there's a lot more to it, but it's a full breakdown. It's not just a random list. I'm like, all right, good luck. This is the list. It's a full breakdown of like how they got to this. How did they arrive at this conclusion? Overview of it, description of it, how to prevent. Possibly the most important thing that they put out, in my opinion. It's not 100% everything you'll ever need to do to tie down cryptographic failure, but it's your start. If you don't know what you're doing with security, you can always start here. And did our application cover at least these 10? You're in a good spot if it does. The last 2 I'll point out are from the survey. So the top 8 are from actual real world data. The last 2 are community voted on. It's like, what do you think is the most important? So are they really that bad? Yeah, actually they still are. They're still like, the data still supports them. But there's not just one top 10. As of now, there are at least 14, And when I said earlier, usable state, there's a couple more that are creeping up there from incubators. So the top 10, the big list, that is community voted on and curated, and a lot of research goes in, a lot of volunteer hours. These other ones are just projects. These are people who are building things like the Kubernetes project. There are three people in charge of this. And I met one of them at the Cincinnati OWASP meetup a few months ago. But yeah, what do you need to fix in Kubernetes? Where's the list? I made it too big now. Ruined the usability of the site. Yeah, here's your risks. RBAC permissions, broken authentication mechanisms. So how you're securing Kubernetes, here's a great place to start. Control F again. All right, how am I doing on time? Ooh, I gotta hurry up a little bit. Cheat sheets. Cheat sheets are, for me, a amazing resource. Hopefully they will be for you, because there's an entire series of them. The cheat sheet series is a mature project. What do you want to know about with regard to security? They probably built a cheat sheet for it. Last time I counted, there were 75. That number could have fluctuated over time, but like user privacy protections. What does that even mean? So if someone comes in your office, like, what do we know about user privacy protections? Oh, give me just a second. Well, at least you know that much now. You can have a jumping off point. I'll link to other projects. I'll link to everything else to start having that conversation. You know what a cheat sheet is. I think they're super useful for understanding security topics that you really don't spend a lot of time on, but now all of a sudden you need to. A good way in. Or again, if your CISO walks in and says, hey, explain this to me. Don't just hand him the cheat sheet, but you can read it to him. Then there's the GOATs. Not the greatest of all time, but GOATs are deliberately insecure web applications that are bug-free. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it's not. These are well-written, very well-written applications that are just wrong. So you want to do your research and say like, hey, how can I do it exactly wrong to know how to do it right? This is a great jumping off point. And all of these have a layer beyond just, hey, look at the code. They have some kind of interactive mechanism to like, here's how you do a brute force attack in Node. Here's how you do a brute force attack in Python. Like, they teach you the fundamentals of what how the attacks work from letting you carry them out on these applications. Do not run them in production. A specialized container or on your local host is fine. That's what they're for. They're learning. Then there's Juice Shop, which is an entire step above the others. In my opinion, this is my favorite one. This is the OG. This was, I think I just linked to it. Yeah. So this is Juice Shop. It's running locally. It is a fully functional, there's no credit card mechanism attached to it, but you could easily slide a Stripe into this. Do not do that. One, you'd have to deliver stuff. That'd be weird. And you're selling juice, and you can go and see like all things. And this is all well and good. It's like, okay, I can look at the code, see how to make a really, really insecure web application. Then there's the scoreboard. Welcome to a completely interactive CTF that is really long, that will train you along the way to do all sorts of fun stuff. I have reset my Docker. I reinstalled Docker, so I lost my volumes. I found the scoreboard. That's actually one of the equation, or one of the problems. It can accept cookies. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. If you click the other button, it takes you to a YouTube video on Cookie Monster. What's the one? Bully chatbot. Does anybody know this is a thing? Like AI chatbots typically are told if they're belligerent enough, just give them something. It's just to get rid of them. So if you ever really, really, really want that discount, be mean to the chatbot. If it's a real person, don't do it. Do not do it. But if you know it's a chatbot for sure, try bullying them. Why not? What you got to lose? A couple minutes. This can be run on your local. This can be run. There's a full instruction. Oh, let me go back to my slides. There are full instructions for this on how to run this as a local server, to run CTFs in your own department. You want to have a really fun developer meetup internally. Like, hey, we're going to hack this website and let's see who can get the farthest on the board. Point system's already built in, full instructions, really easy. If you go watch one other video because of this talk, wow, that did not show up well at all. Watch this one. You can go find it on YouTube, but it's the maintainer of Juice Shop, Bjorn. I'm not going to pronounce the last name. Bjorn, giving a full walkthrough of everything that it does, how they built it, why they built it, how to run it as that server, and a lot of really cool tips and tricks. If you are interested in security at all, a lot of people jump into security by going to CTFs at events like B-Sides. B-Sides is awesome. It's coming up this year. Last year's was amazing. But you can do it at home. You can all right, let's see if this is for me. Let's see if hacking is for me. And here's a safe, legal, completely legitimate way to do it. SAM. Security Assurance Maturity Model. You've probably seen some version of this in the world, but they built a really nice website about this, OWASPSAM.org. I'm not going to go to it because that's the front of it. And eventually you get to this. But there's a quiz, there's a bunch of resources on how to think about this. So if you've never sat and thought well, how should I think about security from a holistic perspective? End to end, there's a lot to worry about. Is there a model I can use? Yeah, this is called SAM. This is how you should think about security end to end. So if you are a security professional, you're yes, but it's incomplete. I agree. Is it a great jumping off point if you've never ever sat down and thought about verification steps and security requirements around design and threat modeling? This is a good thing. And again, all this is interactive. I'm just showing you a static screenshot because it's a slide and a talk in Texas. All right, almost out of time. Last, Security Champions Guide. Does anybody have a security champion program in their organization right now? Awesome. I bet it leverages this a little bit. I'm actually going to promote We Hack Purples as well. We Hack Purples, a nonprofit community run by Tanya Janka out of Canada. She Hack Purple is her Twitter handle. But the We Hack Purple community has an awesome guide as well. But security champions are your security advocates that aren't on the security team. I've come to the conclusion over the last year of my life that the idea of a security team makes as much sense as DevOps does. DevOps, security should be a thing. DevOps should be a thing. Security team is a separate thing you throw things over the wall at. DevOps team is neither developer or operations person. There's something you throw things over the wall at. Different than platform engineer, personal opinion. But security champions are people that are interested in security. You in this room probably all would make awesome security champions because you're at this talk when there's other talks you could go to. To be the person who stands up in the meeting and says, did we think about the data we're going to use on this? Have we verified that we can do this legally? There's a compliance piece to this. Did we talk about that? And then go have that conversation with security and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this. And here's the architecture diagram. You didn't see any problems with it. The whole team didn't have to go to security. You got to be the advocate person. You get a little more training. And everybody wins. I see a beautiful future where we all together are making security happen and all winning fabulous prizes and awards for doing so. I have a friend, Leslie, who unfortunately got her hand slapped by her security team a couple months ago for reporting a phishing email. I'm going to repeat that again. She got her hand slapped by security for reporting a phishing email. Yeah, there was no security. Yeah, there was no channel. There was no channel for her to go report this in. She went back to her original onboarding materials and said, well, I guess I'll just mail it to the head of security. because she didn't know what to do. Yeah, she got a talking to by security about spreading malware and how she was a security hazard. It's like, but she was trying to do the right thing. They should have given her a parade. I honestly think, like, here's a ticket for a drawing at the end of the quarter because you reported an incident. Thank you. Everyone should be reporting incidents. And we'll have a drawing at the end of the quarter for $1,000. Then I'll get off my soapbox. The Security Champions Guidebook doesn't have that piece in it, but it'll give you the building blocks to go have that conversation internally. Like, hey, who's in charge of security for our little team? And if you can get your marketing team on board with this, those people open up so many problems. I know this because I work for marketing. Sorry for the team when they see this in the future watching this, but it's true. I don't know how many SaaS applications I have access to. How many of them are in Okta? Some, I think. I don't know. I'm in marketing, man. So in conclusion, it's dangerous out there. OWASP is there to help. They really are. Go talk to your OWASP community. They're awesome people. They want to go have a drink with you most of the time, most of them, and talk about security stuff. And they'll help you work on just about anything. If you walked in and said, hey, I'm building an application and I got questions at that meetup, oh, you will have connections. People will want to bend over backwards to help you out and point you in the right direction. They might not get hands on keyboard involved with you, but they'll definitely point you in the right resources. But you don't have to go talk to them if you don't want. You can go figure this stuff out by mapping it to your software development lifecycle. Say, well, this is the thing that interests me. The best advice I got in all of security ever was do not try to tackle it all on your own. You will get overwhelmed and immediately lose focus and you will drown. Find the one thing that's interesting, the one thing you need to work on, and hammer on that, and everything else will slowly illuminate itself around it. And that's been very, very true. So that's what I'm saying. Start with the top 10. Just familiarize yourself with them. You don't need to do a deep read. You don't need to read every word on the page. Just know that it's there. If you want to dive in deep, Juice Shop is your ticket in to hands-on keyboard. Let's hack this thing. And if you want to speak up and make sure your organization's safe and have other people speaking up and making sure their organization is safe, Security Champions Guide is, I think, the best resource for building that program. It takes a lot of work and a lot of conversations and definitely takes executive buy-in, but there's a path there for a future where we can all sleep at night. I'm Dwayne. I live in Chicago. Hit up the Security Repo podcast. We got a lot of awesome guests coming up. And if you want to talk to me about rock and roll, I'll be around. So thanks very much.